What is up? Week 12 kicks off on Thanksgiving Day, and we're here with a special Wednesday night edition of Matchup Points here at fantasypoints.com. I'm John Hansen, Brett Whitefield, Adam Caplan, right over there, and our guy Tommy T on the other side of the glass, ready to rock and roll. And Brett Whitefield, of course, being the man who alerted all of us to Cal Ridley last week. Great job there. Brett, all right. Well, we're going to try and barrel through this in an hour. We're going to probably spend a little bit more time than usual on the Turkey Day games, and then we'll kind of blow through some of the other scrubby games here on the dockets. We'll start, of course, in the Motor City. Brett, you are the resident Lion person. You'll have plenty of time to get into what you see here in the game. But Adam, just give us the Cliff Notes version. No Aaron Jones.
Yep.
No Musgrave.
Yep.
And then I guess we'll see about Reed and Wicks.
Yes, Reed's fine. Reed's cleared. He took all his reps today in their walkthrough, so he's good to go. The big surprise, and I was telling you guys off air, it's extremely rare for a player to be cleared out concussion protocol to play after he got hurt on Thursday. It hurt in the previous week on Sunday, then play Thursday. But Wicks works a little bit in their walkthrough today, which would probably mean there's a chance he flew with the team today. They left late afternoon. Mm-hmm. The league will have some serious questions about, well, how's this guy getting cleared if he does get cleared? But that certainly would help Jordan Love, because without Musgrave, that's a big one. If Wicks can't play, they're a 5 pass target team, that they'd be down to really 3. And you mentioned Aaron Jones, John. He's out. So it's Dylan. I suspect Dylan will play. It's not a lock.
Yeah.
They added James Robinson, who may be active for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick Taylor's back. So they're an absolute mess, John. Their offensive line's healthy. Their secondary still very banged up. I know the Lions played down in the Bears last week, but this game should not be close.
Well, Brett, let's start with the Packer offense here. And obviously, them well. You know the Lion D well. Second meeting here. A.J. Dillon that's a tough assignment, first and foremost. I do think you can make some hay, though, in the passing game. I must say, I feel pretty good about using Watson and Dobbs here, if for no other reason than I think, Love's probably going to throw it 40-plus times again. It could get ugly, but maybe some garbage time production.
Yeah, I think that's where it's at, the garbage time production. The Lions, they'll get a little more aggressive with Jordan Love back there this week. They've been playing super scared against Lamar and Hurts Lamar, Herbert, and Fields. I do think that Love being a little less mobile than those guys and more of a he's more apt to take sacks that he doesn't need to be taking. So I think the Lions dial it up, get a little more aggressive. I agree with Adam here where this is going to probably be a negative game script for them. So a lot of passing volume in the second half, especially with their running back room the way it is right now. That could lend to some garbage time, which we saw last time these two teams played, actually. The Packers, I don't know, they racked up like 200 passing yards in the second half of that game just because Lions were sitting back and prevent cover 2 the whole game. Yeah. And yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah. Real quick, is Tucker Kraft worth a look? I mean, he had a nice play last week. Luke Musgrave is down. I mean, it's not the greatest offense, but any thoughts on Kraft?
DeGuara is hurt too, right, Adam?
Yeah, he's not expected to play. Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kraft is a yak guy, so maybe if they get into the right game script, they could get him some balls underneath and he could make some stuff happen. The Lions did not tackle well last week. I think they had like 17 or 18 missed tackles in that game. Obviously, it's a totally different brand of football that the Bears play, but they're short week, not a lot of rest. It's possible that those tackling woes continue on to this game.
Then Adam, I don't know if you saw that they did elevate my guy Bo Melton. Shout out to Bo Melton.
I love it. Yep.
South Jersey guy, of course, from Rutgers. And then let's get into the Lion analysis here, Brett. Per the matchup coverage tool we have, not the ideal, I guess, schematic matchup by the data. Then you go back and you look, and he hasn't really done all that much. Any thoughts? I mean, Amon-Ra obviously is going to get his. Jamison Williams, the shot play guy, maybe not Josh Reynolds this week. Pretty good matchup for Laporta. And, of course, Dave Montgomery steamrolled their asses in the first meeting.
Yeah, this is all about the Lions' run game. The Lions, the they're averaging like 160 yards per game on the ground their last 5. The Packers have been getting torched. They've given up back-to-back weeks of 200 plus. For me, this is like actually the Packers run D's been bad all year, minus 2 games. I think week 7 and 8 they played the Vikings and the other team's blanking me, but not good run offense.
Chargers?
No, it wasn't. The Chargers ran the ball effectively on them. Yeah. I think Eckler had that play where he looked like a dinosaur. Did you guys see that?
Well, I said a month ago that I think we're seeing the beginning of the end of Austin Eckler.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The Rams. It was the Rams. Sorry.
No.
So Vikings and Rams back to back. Those two teams aren't very good at running the football. I think that propped up Packers' recent run D efforts. I think the Lions bring them back down to earth this week for sure. They're smashing everybody. I mean, look at the end of the game last week, John. In a negative game script, the Lions are just like, you know what? Screw this passing stuff. We're just going to run it right down your throat, and we're going to get back in the game that way. It was bold.
and it worked.
And it worked. So I think on that go-ahead drive where time was against them, they ran the ball 5 times, which was insane.
As we move on to the DC Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys, I did send a text to our friend Ben Standig of The Athletic when I saw, Adam, that they upgraded Jonathan Jonathan Williams? One of these guys has been around the block forever.
He's they called him up.
Jonathan Williams.
Yeah.
So, that I said, I didn't even say it, but I said, what do you think of Gibson tomorrow? And he goes, well, probably, not a great sign.
No,
but they called up Williams.
No. He's had a history of toe injuries. I chart this stuff and I look back, I'm like, this year, 2 years ago, toe, missed time.
Damn.
Was on the injury report a lot. So he's a true questionable. We'll see tomorrow. Now, I'd put it this way. If he's active, he's in my lineup as a flex. If that's how you're using him, we shouldn't be using him for any more than that. But he's good at it. I mean, he is good at catching the football in PPR leagues. But I do worry about.
Aren't you worried about aggravation?
Well, but they're not going to have him. I can't imagine they would have him active if they're not going to play him. Because that, on your point, John, that's why you should either he could do his job or he can't. Right. You don't want to risk that unless you know he can play.
Yeah, exactly. Are we back? If we're back, then we're back.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to put him out.
All right.
I'd be surprised. Now, also, Chris Rodriguez had a bad fumble last week.
That is true.
Yeah, and it would be smart. Also, it's not a good sign, but also if Gibson does play and he does aggravate it, then they have to have another back. You can't have only two backs in a game available. Then you get up 3.
I mean, you've known Jay Glazer like 25 years. He'll have something on this probably.
Someone will, I'm sure. Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't. When you're doing TV, it's always. It just depends on the level of player. Like if it's Robinson, if Robinson had been hurt, you're absolutely getting an update. Whoever's covering the game, 100%.
Sure. All right. Well, otherwise here, injury wise, I mean, we're pretty light injury wise in the game.
Yeah, this is insane though, John. They're down to they traded two DNs, right? 2 out of the next 3 DNs that were playing, they're out. And I know Tommy DeVito got sacked 9 times. I'm sure plenty of them were on him. This Dak should absolutely tear this team apart. And not that Emmanuel Forbes is a good football player, but he's out.
He's out.
They're getting torched in this game. The Dak will. I know Dak last week was a little bit underwhelming, but I expect him to bounce back in a big way in this matchup.
Oh yeah, I mean, Brett, there's a fan. The prop that's over 1.5 touchdowns. I mean, come on,
smash.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, as someone who has Tony Pollard in their number 1 league, trust me, they cannot freaking run the ball in the red zone this year with Tony Pollard. But what stands out to you here in the matchup, Brett? On one hand, it seems like Sam Howell kind of struggles against man, but on the other hand, I traditionally like McLaurin and Dotson against man.
Yeah, for Howell, it's all about Ben. It's like calming him down in the pocket, and against man, he's gotten a little, I would say trigger happy where he's bailing a little early. Dallas will send pressure at him too, so they'll blitz him. But the sack rate is still coming down. I mean, I know Howell took 4 sacks last week, but he dropped back 50 times. So the sack percentage is coming down still, which is good. That's 4 weeks in a row now where he's got that under control. Obviously Dallas's pass rush is insane. So we'll see how he's truly doing with that this week. But I it's tough because these matchups, like the Dallas corners, are playing very well right now. Deron Bland obviously having a historic season, but I like Dotson and McLaurin against man typically. I want to say Dallas has actually been playing. Yeah, they've been playing the fifth most man in the league the last 5 weeks. So they've definitely been ramping up their man percentage. On the other side, I like all the Dallas guys. I mean, there isn't a matchup I don't like there. So
I went Gallup over 23.5 yards. I did win a Gallup prop last week. He quietly has at least 2 catches in 8 straight games. And I think he'll be on the backup, right? The backup corner out there for Mosley. St. Juice will be out there, but in
St. Juice going to play in the slot probably against CD mostly.
Right.
Yeah, Gallup should see a lot of. Is Forbes playing?
No,
he's not playing. Okay.
No.
All right. I mean, I like that matchup a lot. Gallup, he still does the thing he does well. He's doing it well, which is body control, contested catch stuff. Dak doesn't. He's a little risk adverse. Doesn't love throwing into those tight windows sometimes, but I think the game script here will favor that a little bit because they're going to be able to do what they want. Should be easy.
Adam, before we move on, your trust level in Samuel Howell generally, can he just hold it together and get another 250 yards and 1 to 2 touchdowns and keep these receivers afloat?
Think about it. He had around 17 fantasy points, obviously depending on your scoring, with 3 picks, but not a great game for him. He still put it up. He's been amazing. John, he's been a top 3 quarterback since week 3. Again, it depends on your scoring, but I know in the ACI, he's one of the top scorers. So it's going to be tough because they play a ton of man and they're going to bring it. Their stunts are great. They have a bad offensive line. There are going to be some turnovers here, but I expect some garbage time numbers from Hal here. He, by the way, is the king of garbage time.
Yeah, probably throw a couple picks, maybe 1 for 6.
But he'll put up.
Bland gets another one.
He's going to put up the ball at least 40 times. You know that's coming.
But unfortunately, real quick, Brett, I have Curtis Samuel. I mean, that's the matchup, but I can't trust it because they spread the damn ball around so much.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Jordan Lewis is the corner to attack on that defense for sure. But the super spreader look, it's just Samuel's kind of been out of it for a few weeks now too.
Exactly.
He hasn't been their guy. So
yeah, he did get ejected last week, which I actually didn't even know until day after. But we move on here to the final Thursday game, Thanksgiving Day game, the Niners at the Seahawks. And Adam, we have, no Ken Walker.
Yep.
What else we have here? Gino is going to go.
Barring something happening tomorrow, he's expected to start, which is huge. By the way, Metcalf's good to go with a toe injury. Lockett's fine coming out of the game with a hamstring issue. So it's just a matter of and they're getting very healthy. One of the big reasons why they've turned their secondary around is because it's the healthiest they've been all season, the secondary. And then offensive line wise, they might get I think it's Abe Lucas back. He took a lot of reps this week. I think he was the one who had been on IR. So yeah, they're getting healthy. Their injury report is a little thinner. That's a good thing. The kid Kobe Bryant, the other Kobe Bryant, who's a cornerback / safety, he may be activated tomorrow. So they're in really, even Jamal Adams, though I know he doesn't really help them all that much, he has a decent chance to play. So they'll be healthy. And John, as you were telling me this morning on our show, the thing about Seattle is, in terms of their coverages, it has not been great for Brock, as great as he's playing. Not that I'm going to bench him, but you can't expect the kind of game that he had last week.
Yeah. What do you think, Brett? The quarterback matchup tool, not loving it. What is that, cover 4 that gives him some trouble?
Brock Purdy, yeah. It's more what the tool is not capturing right now is safety rotation. And it's more that. So if you're giving him a pre-snap look and then altering that snap or disguising something or changing his sight picture post-snap, that's where he's getting a little caught up a little bit. So that usually results in cover 4. So that's a good point there. But I think any type of disguise. I mean, Mahomes went through a phase where he dealt with this as well. Yeah. Josh Allen's still dealing with it. I think that's the big thing. So even when Shanahan has the right play schemed up, the hesitation, causing him to hold the ball a little half second longer is, allowing the defense to recover a little bit. So
that's a little tough to deal with because Ayuk and Debo are so good against zone in general.
Yeah, and what Ayuk does too is timing based. Like he's such a good, precise route runner. You want to throw him with anticipation and timing and rhythm and stuff like that. The second you start having him improvise, he's good in the scramble drill, but that's not his game. That's not where he thrives. So,
those middle of the field routes where they find that open space.
Yeah.
And doesn't Kittle thrive in that as well? Because I like the Kittle prop for over his yardage, and he's on fire.
Yeah, Kittle should have a lot of space in the middle of the field this game.
I'm telling you, John, that's what I was telling you this morning, and that's what coaches tell me against cover 4. It's the beater is tight ends on I wish, excuse my language. I wish I was driving when I got that stuff. I would have given you the exact kind of play call. There's a specific call that you have against it. There's a certain call for a tight end. I can't remember what it was, but I just know I'm like, all right, that's good to know. And cover 4 was that one. So yeah, I weather should be okay. Rain's not going to happen because you always worry about that in Seattle. This is a fun game of the 3. Obviously, this is a good one.
Yeah, Kittle leading the way in target share against zone. Seattle allowing the 10th most receptions, the tight ends, despite not giving up much last week to freaking Tyler Higbee. Let's move on. Well, we've got the Dolphins at the Jets, a Black Friday game. And, well, Adam, what is the latest in the backfield? Is Jeff Wilson locked into the number 2 running back spot?
Oh, well, he's going to play. The question is, do they clear Achane for the game? Thank goodness he didn't have a setback with the MCL. It just he dinged it. So they'll make that decision probably after tomorrow's practice, whether he'll dress or not. Jeff Wilson almost certainly will dress because they put Ahmed on IR, which was a little bit surprising. They've been banged up at both guard spots. Both they have a chance to have all those guys back, which would help. Durham Smythe is their lead wide tight end. He's got a chance to play. That's actually important for fantasy, for the run game. And Tyreek's playing with a hand injury. He'll play. It's not a problem.
And then Brett, anything stand out to you here with Miami? I know our guy Scott Barrett was doing some, or maybe it was Graham, doing some tweeting, some uncoverings from the data suite about maybe Jalen Waddle in this one here. Now that also may be a cover 4 situation, I believe. I don't know if you saw his tweets.
I didn't see his tweet. The Jets do mix it up a little bit, but the one thing you're going to get with DJ Reed, I guess, is probably what Graham's projecting there with Jalen Waddle is they play him off coverage a little bit more. And Waddle is so freaking quick, and he's so good in the short part of the field. That's a good recipe for success. Ultimately, though, I just think this is going to be a low passing yard game on both sides of the ball. These are really stingy secondaries. Since Jalen Ramsey's back, the Miami secondary has been playing great. They've tilted more zone heavy. I think they're playing zone like 80% of their snaps the last 5 weeks.
Devontae Adams did still crush it despite those 2 damn corners. I was worried about it.
That is true. Some of it was a heavy volume approach, though, right? It wasn't the most efficient output in the world. So, true. Yeah, I love Jalen Ramsey and what they're doing with him since he's been back. He's best with his eyes on the QB. Really kind of changes the makeup of that defense. So, I think this could just be a snoozer kind of game in general.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, John, on Tim Boyle. So I talked to someone who coached him years ago, or one of the stops. He's got if he doesn't throw to his size, John, he's got good size. He's a finesse thrower. He doesn't drive the football. That it's why he's never been able to even be a number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
Until now he is, because he's by default he moved up in the pecking order. And now obviously he's starting, which you don't want. Now, I'll say this: he will get the ball out of his hands. He just doesn't drive the football.
Right.
But it has to be better than what we saw. So I have at least, for those of us who have Garrett Wilson on our teams, I have at least a little bit more positivity in my thinking about playing him.
They must not think Flacco is a good fit for that scheme or something.
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on with that one.
I have a fun Tim Boyle stat. He has never had a season as a quarterback where he had more touchdowns than interceptions.
Oh, are you
that includes
serious?
his 4 years of college football, by the way.
Where did he go to school?
It was a Big East team. Was it Syracuse?
Barry. I don't know.
Oh, UConn.
UConn. That's right.
That's that in college. How could that happen in college? It's like impossible.
I know that UConn team he played for was bad.
But geez.
Well, let's move on to the 1 p.m. games on Sunday. Saints Falcons. Adam, what is the latest with Derek Carr? Number one,
he is still in the protocol, but he did a lot today, so he's most likely, barring a setback, going to get cleared. You know about Michael Thomas being on IR. Marshawn Lattimore will not play. That's huge for this matchup.
Yeah, that is.
So that's where that is.
Right. And then no injuries of note for the Falcons. Well, Des Ridder.
Yeah, he's starting. And then Onyemata, this is big because their D-line is thin at tackle. Onyemata didn't do much today. That would be, if he doesn't play, that would be impactful.
Onyemata, get set, go as well. Let's see. Well, Brett, in this game, do you have any thoughts? Your boy A.T. Perry, is he just plug right in with Michael Thomas? I think I'd go right to Rashid Shaheed, but you may disagree with that in terms of if you got to pick up Rashid Shaheed or A.T. Perry, who are you picking up?
Shaheed for sure. I like the long play with Perry. He's another vertical guy though. They have so many vertical guys on this roster. It's crazy. Actually, A.T. Perry, no receiver in the last 3 draft class were as productive on vertical routes than he was, which is kind of crazy. But this is Shaheed all day. We've picked on D. Alfred in the past, but the way the Falcons are playing, their defense right now, it's a super zone heavy approach, 80% zone, really soft in the middle of that defense. So Alfred's not manning up on guys necessarily, but they're passing him through. Their linebackers aren't great in coverage. Their safeties aren't good in coverage. So they've given up a crap ton of points to slot receivers. Let's see, the last 5 weeks, they're 6.3 surplus points to slot receivers over the last 5 weeks. That's the second most in the NFL. So I think Shaheed is definitely the guy to target. Now the Saints will obviously move all those guys around. Olave will get some run in the slot as well, but really Shaheed is kind of taking that role back. I know early in the season it was Olave, and then they're kind of back to Shaheed playing in the slot the most. So I think that's the right call, John.
And what do you think about Des Ridder? A little bit of a reset here. Arthur Smith apparently, worked on whatever the problems were, ball security. No Lattimore. That certainly helps. Your thoughts on not the best matchup still, even without Lattimore for Ridder, but at least they don't rush the passer all that much.
Yeah, their pass rush is bad. Ridder should have some time. That's really what he needs. The tape early in the season, he just wasn't getting through his progressions right. And I think that was a big problem. So if Arthur's not scheming it up for him, I think Ridder's been good on script when they come out and he's on script. I think he's been fine. The key is, can he play after the script is over? Because that's only 20-ish plays, So
John, the issue with him is accuracy. He just, this is a problem in college. He'd miss throws he got to hit. I would say the league was more down on him than feeling positive about him. That's why I dropped to the 3rd round. He could run, but he just has to settle down and hit what's there. That's the big thing for him.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Drake London a little bit here. No Lattimore. It certainly helps. I don't know about the tight ends here. And who knows about Bijan, but we move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Bengals. And, we got a total of 35. This is boring right now. Adam, injury wise, what is going on here? Are we getting Minka back?
He's supposed to work by tomorrow, but he'll still be questionable. I'd be stunned if Pickens doesn't play. I know he has a shin injury, but they were not concerned about it. But see, with the play caller change, Mike Sullivan, who's called plays in 2 spots, you can't change a scheme, but you can change the plays that you call, and that's probably coming here. And they'll narrow it down to plays that they think Pickett could handle. I'm just interested to see if there's, because the players wanted this to happen. I'm interested to see what kind of energy this team has.
Yeah.
Pickett could not be worse, you would think, but as I was telling you today, it could only help him. And I'm just hearing another voice in his head and getting someone who could reach him, because that's the former OC Canada cannot get it done.
I'm guessing, pure speculation, of course, but like in the locker room, like percentage wise, it's probably like, I don't know, 65-35 Canada, 60-40. I don't know. Seems like, Najee was talking up a little bit. Brett, what is going on with the Bengal D? I know they've had some injuries, but all of a sudden they're not bad, but they're definitely not good.
This is been the story of them for 3 years, right? They don't have any superstars, but they have a collection of guys who are all pretty good.
Right.
And that'll yield you a pretty good product most of the time. But when you play elite offenses, it might get tough. I think Anarumo still schemed it up really good. Trey Hendrickson's having just one of the most underrated seasons imaginable. His tape is outrageously good this year. I mean, he's always been a very good player, but he's taken another step this year. I would put him right up there with Micah Parsons and Joey or Nick Bosa's of the world for his performance this year. He's been that good. I mean, truthfully, he's been that good. So I think that's helped. You can still run on them though, right? And I think teams, especially heavy play action teams, they've had success against them because they get those linebackers in a bind. You start putting second level defenders in conflict, and that's how you pick apart this defense.
Well, Adam, your thoughts on the post Joe Burrow era here? I mean, not much they can do, but try and run the ball a little bit more and run their offense.
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I would think, obviously, if you're going to help this kid out, you're going to run the ball more. I would expect more of a commitment to do that, to help Jake Browning out. You don't want to put it all on him. T. Higgins didn't work today, by the way, coming out of last week's game. That's not a good sign. So
he didn't work.
Did not, huh?
Nope. He hasn't practiced since he got hurt. And remember, he got hurt in a practice.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I mean, I don't have a ton here on this game. Otherwise, tough spot here. Like to, see how Browning does over the course of a full game and move on from there.
I got one quick note.
Yeah.
I do. Jamar Chase is going to catch a shadow from Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter Jr. is playing out of his mind for a rookie corner. They have shadowed him the last 2 weeks. And so, I mean, that's crazy for a rookie to get that level of responsibility where they're just committing him to the other team's best receiver. That's impressive stuff. So especially with T, if T doesn't play, all the more reason to shadow Chase with Joey Porter Jr. So I expect
they say, from talking to my guy there, he's a little handsy. He's had some penalties called on him, but they love his aggressiveness. He gives them the ability to play high percentage of man coverage. It's a really good draft pick here. Actually, this is probably a good week to start your Steelers defense.
Oh yeah,
if you have them, they should be in your lineup because you want them to force Browning to throw the football. We know the run game's probably going to be more dedicated, but to me, you got to force Browning to throw it because that's advantage Steelers.
I think we gave them love last week, and they weren't great unless you got
just okay, yeah.
But yards against and points against, they were okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the ACI, I got 8 points with them.
No, you're scoring. Yep, no, you're scoring.
Yeah,
true.
Jacksonville at Houston, and Brett once again. We got it right here. You did on the Calvin Ridley call. I was saying also too, like it sure seems like they miss Zay Jones. I saw someone talking on TV today about like simply Calvin can't get off the press and he sees that at X. Is it as simple as that?
That's definitely part of it. So, I mean, they'll move those two around. So they'll interchange between X and Z, but it's partially getting off the press, but it's also everything he does is just vertical, John. That was my analysis last week. It's like they don't have the dudes to pass protect long enough against elite pass rushes. So when you play a team like Tennessee who doesn't get after the quarterback, then you're going to be able to throw vertical on them, more often than not. So I think that's why it worked. I would say that's not a recipe they'll have success with this week, though.
Ironically, the OC's name is Press, which is quite ironic.
Are you impressed or not? No. Yeah.
No, I'm not impressed. Not really. But what is going on with Trev Lawrence, Brett? Not to put you on the spot, I'm sure you know the answer. With this Houston D, is that once again like a cover 4 deal or cover 2 or some sort of zone that they run seems to baffle Trev Lawrence?
Yeah. I mean, so Houston, they do a good job of mixing it up. I mean, it is I would say a zone heavy approach. They play man like 24% of the time, so not a super low amount of zone or man, I should say. But yeah, I don't know. They really do mix it up. They do play a lot of split safety looks, so cover 4, cover 6, cover 2. Do they play? Let's see here. Yeah, I mean they're top 12 in the league in 2 high safety looks. So it probably just comes down to the rotation in which Houston's doing it, because that's what they're always doing. That is the D'Amico Ryans defense going back to San Francisco last year. Even he's going to disguise his coverages. Whatever you think you're getting pre-snap is not what you're getting post-snap more often than not. So I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, is just making, like, Lawrence. He's been having trouble get through his progressions all year, and so when he faces a more exotic defense like this, it really messes with him.
Yeah. Adam, real quick, the Texan injury report.
Oh, they got a lot. Actually, there are a couple big ones here. This is a monster one. Tyson Campbell has not worked since he had a setback with his hamstring. I put him in the very questionable at best category. They think he'll work by the end of the week, but they got to be careful. Zay Jones, this is great. He came through the game better than he came into it last week. That's good. I don't see Noah Brown playing. We'll learn more tomorrow. Robert Woods is off the injury report. They didn't work him today, but he's not hurt. And Dameon Pierce practiced a lot today. He probably will get cleared to play. So there's a lot going on, but the big one obviously would be Tyson Campbell if he can't go, which I think is likely.
By the way, Brett, how freaking good did Singletary look last week?
Oh man,
Are you kidding me?
He looks awesome. I got some cool nuggets on him. He is, let's see here. He's basically like a full-on bell cow at this point. He is, let's see. Yeah,
Adam Pierce ain't getting his job back.
No,
I'll be interested though. Well, yeah, obviously we know he's not a good fit for their scheme. I'm just interested to see what the touch split will be. Honestly,
right?
And how they Jimmy rig it, because you go with in this case you always go with a hot hand. That's what coaching tells you. You go with Singletary as your lead back, but how they split the workup is the key. But yeah, I don't care if Pierce is active or not. Singletary's in my lineup. Figure out a way to get him in there.
So the last 3 games, no running back has played more snaps than Singletary. He's got the most routes run, and like the 9th most expected fantasy points. So
there you go.
He's been a revelation.
He is a no frill. I interviewed that kid. He is just boring, no frills. I'll show up every day. I'll never get hurt. Basically, I just probably jinxed him, but he's pretty incredible. That guy.
Motor, yeah, his nickname is Motor.
And he's had a million freaking miles off of the tires. Like he got a ton of touches at over 300 carries at least 1 year there.
He might be the most least spectacular running back I've ever seen make a career in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, like he doesn't. There's not a single plus athleticism thing he does, and he's small, so it doesn't.
He just outlasts everybody.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
He's like the fantasy cockroach. I mean, you just can't get rid of him. Can't kill him. Well, anything else on Stroud? I mean, I'm watching Stroud. I'm like, Stroud's better than Pat Mahomes.
It certainly feels that way right now. But the way he's elevating this team, we've talked about it a few weeks in a row now. It's just incredible. And if Tyson Campbell can't go, I mean, fire up Nico and Tank Dell again. I mean, you're firing those guys up anyways, but it's going to be just extra. Jacksonville also can't rush the passer, so I mean, Stroud's going to have plenty of time. I'm sure Bobby Slowick's going to have it all dialed up and ready to go.
This might be a Nico game, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Very
Montaric Brown. I think Montaric Brown so far this year has given up like 82% of completion percentage into his coverage. So,
by the way, that's why he was benched 2 weeks ago. Buster Brown's his nickname. They benched him because he didn't play well. Yeah, they stuck the other kid in there. Yeah.
Buster Brown be busting.
I love that. I mean, anytime I'm able to start my receiver like against another guy nicknamed Toast, something like that. It's like Jimmy Toast Douglas. Oh, get him in there, baby. Let's go next to Tampa, Indy. I mean, I don't really even know where to go with the Colts offense. I mean, I guess Jonathan Taylor, it's not the best matchup. Anything on Indy? I mean, it's kind of boring. It's like they're going to get Josh Downs back.
He's good, by the way. He's off the injury report for the first time in 5 weeks. This is big.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. And
that's a great matchup too.
He had that injury going back to OTAs, but he's fine. He should play a lot. And John, he really, the coaches are pretty impressed by him. Remember, he didn't practice leading up to the game over in Germany.
Mhm.
And he went up. They threw the ball deep to him. Remember, he had a couple shot plays.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Now, the kid who does play the slot corner there's data points is pretty good.
Yeah, they just play so
Izzian?
much. Yeah, Izzian, Christian Izzian. His individual coverage assignment, he's been fine. The
Yeah.
problem is Devin White and their safeties have not been good in coverage at all. So when you're playing a lot of zone, inevitably those slot receivers end up on linebackers or safeties, and they take
sure.
advantage.
Yeah.
Couple related to that. Jamel Dean got hurt. It's not. I'd be very surprised if he plays. And then Carlton Davis should play with that hip injury. Levante David and Devin White are banged up. They didn't work today, so this is good for the Colts offense. We'll know more, tomorrow and Thursday, but tomorrow and Friday. But that's where they're at.
I wonder if Jelani Woods is literally going to miss the whole year with a hamstring.
He won't. Steichen said he won't go that far, but it doesn't sound anytime soon. And Juju Brents probably won't play as a starting corner for the Colts. We should mention.
Yeah, okay.
So,
he's been out for a while.
They're beatable. They're certainly beatable back there.
Yeah, John. Tampa, by the way, they're giving up the second most fantasy points to slot receivers this year. So,
yeah,
let's go.
Okay, there you go. All right, I think I've got Downs up somewhat high. When a guy's injured, I'll usually inch him up as he progresses during the week, kind of a deal. Wide receiver 42, 4 catches for 47, 10.5 fantasy points. That's decent. When you're hitting double digits, you're doing something. Also for this game, actually, Rachaad White, start him.
Dude.
How about that Darius Leonard story, Adam?
Yeah, well, he was playing a lot of snaps, but he wasn't playing well, and they'll go with EJ Speed over him. Yeah, it's crazy. They extended his contract 2 years ago. They already owe him for the rest of the season. They owe him $6 million, and tells you how badly they didn't want him. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, something going on there off field.
Nice. I don't remember.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it might be some sort of.
I don't know. It's weird. It is weird. He was baffled by it. So
I mean, he missed a lot of time the last couple
with
years.
Neck problems. But here's the thing: he's been a starter. He still played a high degree of snaps, and they would take him out situationally, and he couldn't understand why they were doing that. But the fact that they're walking away from $6 million, it tells you that they don't think he could help them. That's not a good sign.
Hey, Brett, I don't know if you probably didn't catch it on the all 22, but watching the game back, Daryl Moose Johnston made a point about Rachaad White, and he was, I don't know if it's a PFF deal or not, but he was saying like, oh, there's a stat out there that Rachaad White leads the NFL in forced missed tackles in space.
I think it was the ones that track that.
What's that?
I think we are the only ones that track that.
Oh, we do have that?
Yeah, not on a forward-facing product, but we have that on the back end. Yeah.
Well, that made some sense because that's kind of his deal. Like maybe not in the phone booth.
Yeah.
But when he's out there running, he'll make you miss.
So check this out. The last 5 weeks, one Rachaad White leads all running backs in expected fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is he actually leads in all fantasy points. Oh, sorry. Besides Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is 1. Rachaad White is 2. But he's outperforming his XFP. So even though he has the highest XFP, he's still outperforming that number and producing more. I think that's a pretty good sign. I mean, his role in the offense is pretty clear.
Oh,
I think you can ride this, even if we're not sold on the performance necessarily. You can ride the fantasy aspect of it for the rest of the year for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, he'll end up being the pick of the year, really, running back, and maybe top 3.
And it was so bad the first 4 weeks. It's just kind of funny, and now he's incredible.
Well, look, I don't like to lean on volume alone, so I'm glad that he's showing well because I never said he was a stud, but I always said, look, I got an old school 80s vibe from the guy, catching the ball, bigger guy, By the way, Brad, I don't know if you know that Ufanga tore his ACL, and I believe that was Rachaad White who faked him out.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
was a nice move. He's got a nice some subtle moves there.
And he's not sharing it. They've tried everyone in back of him. It hasn't worked.
Yep.
Well, Adam, as we move on, what is the deal? What's the deal with the New England Patriots? Do we know yet?
It's
Quarterback.
Yeah, Mac Jones was acting like he's going to be the starter in
Okay.
his media gathering today.
No, I know he's been, I guess, starting with the ones, kind of.
Well, he was acting like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Today he was acting like he was going to be starting.
All right. Well,
No.
I mean, I guess we'll get Devontae Parker back, maybe.
He's not out. He worked today, but he didn't. He's not totally out of protocol yet. Well, what an absolute mess they are. Oof, boy.
Yep. Hey, Demario Douglas, though, not too shabby.
Yeah.
Against our guy, John Cordell Flott.
Yeah.
I love Flott.
Let's get it.
And Douglas could run, man. He could fly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have anything else here. Anything jump out to you in this one, Brett?
Just the Cordell Flott matchup. I dig it. The Giants in general have been, terrible against slot receivers this year. So I think there's a three-way tie for the second most fantasy points allowed the last 5 weeks, and they're one of the three teams. We've already mentioned the other two. I also, I don't mind some Jalen Hyatt. I know Tommy DeVito is not going to be the downfield thrower we hope he can be, but Patriots, the one thing they've given up this year is a few deep balls. So they've been stingy. J.C. Jackson's been good since he's been back too. But that said, they've still given up. There's been some miscommunications on the back end where, for whatever reason, they've been susceptible to a deep ball here and there. So Jalen Hyatt maybe could get loose. Wouldn't start him in fantasy by any means, but for prop betting, maybe you take an over or something there.
I'm not touching it. I almost picked up Slayton and started him last week. I regret that, obviously, because he did well. But man, Adam, oh, did he?
Yeah.
Man, there's all kinds of these injuries that are popping up. Oh, did he? I didn't know that. Well, it is Wednesday. It's the first day we.
No, I watched him get hurt, and I'm like, man, he took a shot. Yeah, he has a neck injury, unfortunately.
Do we have to spread the ball around so much, though?
I know. They don't have a one, John. They don't even have a two.
Yeah.
It's a pass target by committee. I hate those kind of things. Barkley, by the way, is off the injury report with a high ankle sprain. That's a good.
Give him credit, man. He looked good last week, man.
Yeah, that's a really good sign. I want to make sure people know that who have him, like myself, in one league, because it's always reassuring when a guy's off the injury report. I just feel better about it. Yeah. Can we skip the Carolina-Tennessee game?
Well, we will almost, Brett. I mean, if I said on the radio this morning, if you're not starting Derrick Henry here, you should cut him right now, right?
Oh yeah, this is it.
Make no mistake. Panther backfield's a disaster. Bryce Young's a disaster. Thielen, sure. I mean, another 6 grabs for 59.
Their secondary is bad, but Tennessee's secondary is bad.
But they're not giving up much lately.
I don't worry about. I don't worry. I get it's Bryce Young.
Bad, but
no, it's a favorable matchup. I'll put it that way. And
they are bad. No one else on the other side's good.
I know. It's a terrible. I mean, I could not imagine any fans going to this game. Oof.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Tennessee's been good, but they've played like the Bucks and they played another Pittsburgh, teams that can't physically cannot pass the football. I think the Jets might even be in there too somewhere. So, Falcons. It was the Falcons. Sorry. Yeah. So they haven't really played anyone that can throw the ball. This will be their first big test in that regard. Well,
I don't know if you saw my tweet.
Oops.
Sorry, not really a test, but
yeah.
Last week at the half, that Steelers Browns game was so ugly. I tweeted that per sources they are considering switching to leather helmets at the half. I mean, that thing was freaking disgusting.
33-point total went under. I mean, think about that.
Rams Cards. Adam, what do you think about Cooper Kupp missing the first day?
I mean, that was fully expected. Just so you understand that they knew that he wasn't going to work. He'll be questionable for the game. He's got a normal ankle sprain, and they'll try to see throughout the week what happens. Kyron Williams is going to play. He worked a lot today. That's a good sign. He'll be activated Saturday. He's in the window, but they'll activate him off IR on Saturday, and he's my lineup this week. I'm using him if I have him. Heck, they've known for a couple weeks he's going to be back this week. So,
Yeah, and Brett, I mean, as you saw, I mean, Puka right before halftime, he didn't have a catch, but I don't think, but like you can slow down Puka for 2-3 quarters. You ain't doing it for 4, apparently.
Yeah, I think he had one catch for 4 yards at halftime or something. I am a little worried about Stafford though, guys. As good as he started this year, he has been he's fallen off quite a bit.
Bad. He's like hurt.
Well,
Yeah.
he's off the injury report, but that doesn't mean he's right. Yeah, I agree.
So we chart, receiver separation, and we chart quarterback accuracy. When you pull those two fields together in the data suite, you see that Matthew Stafford has the 3rd lowest catchable ball rate against receivers deemed open. So he's missing open guys frequently at that. We're talking a very significant sample size too. With a lot teams play Cup and Puka with a lot of zone heavy approaches. Yeah. And so he's getting open looks and he's just missing the throws. So if you're wondering why that offense has stalled out a little bit the last few weeks, it's Stafford's not playing, and he never really plays that good hurt. Actually, he's a tough dude. Will always play injured, but it's not always pretty when he does.
I missed promoting our tweet here. Let me do that real quick. Well, we do have a number of games to get through, so let's go to it here. Anything on the Cardinals before we move on, though?
Oh yeah, injury wise. So Michael Wilson has had this issue with his shoulder for almost 2 months. He didn't work today. That's not good. Hollywood added this week with a heel injury, but he hasn't done anything since Murray's been back. A little surprising. So Antonio Hamilton, I know. Look, it is helpful to know this. He's one of their starting corners. He has a groin injury, so he's questionable to play.
Oh yeah, man. My Sunday morning Hansen's Hints article. Just FYI, like every defensive injury like that of note, I will mention and cover, because why? I'll do anything I can to find something to hang my hat on. And oftentimes, starting players being out is a good thing to hang your hat on. Anything else here on Kyler, Brett?
Yeah, I was just saying Kyler looks good. I also think the Rams defense has been kind of, they're another thing. They started hot as well, and now they're kind of slowly cracking. The last 3 weeks, if you look at last 5 weeks, they've given up the ninth most fantasy points per dropback in man, and the 9th most in zone. So they're getting picked apart a little bit, where I think early in the year they were stingy. I know when you look at the individual corner matchups, it looks pretty good for them. But I think that's fool's gold right now.
I'm about ready to buy low on Hollywood Brown, by the way.
I would.
Yeah.
He was obviously their leading receiver all the way up until last week, and then for whatever reason, Kyler just didn't throw him the ball.
Yeah, it's like a couple. Actually, he got off to a hot start. I saw some problematic matchups and quarterback situations like 5-6 weeks ago. I'm like, sell. But now 5-6 weeks later, I'm like, buy, because it's like a
Bye.
Bye. Pretty good buy low guy. Browns at Denver, the week 12 matchup points live stream here, rolling a day earlier than normal. So we little less information. It's a little harder, but Browns, Broncos, Adam, what do we got injury wise here? I mean,
well, Kareem Jackson's out. He's suspended. His backup probably won't play, PJ Locke. So that's something to note for not that the Browns are going to throw the ball much, although they did last week. It was a little surprising.
That was surprising.
Yeah, I don't see that happening again. Browns are the team that's super banged up. Lots of guys in their secondary hurt. That's where they're really banged up, is in their just about all of their corners are on the injury report. Both 3 safeties are on it. One's gone for the season. Rodney McLeod, when they play big nickel, he would be the guy. He's out. Ward didn't work. Oh, Anthony Walker won't play for IDP leagues. He's going to miss some time with a hamstring injury. Thornhill hasn't played. He's had a calf injury. He didn't work today. That's not good. Greg Newsome, their slot's got a calf injury. He's been banged up for a while. I mentioned Ward. They're all sorts of banged up. And Grant Delpit's got a thigh injury as their other starting safety. So, John, that's good news for Denver's passing game.
Well, Brett, I mean, I know the Browns have been lights out, but I got to tell you, I kind of like Russ and the outside receivers here.
Yeah, with the injury stuff, plus Cleveland's pass rush is not been as good of late as it was to start the season. I think they, first 9 weeks of the season, they were like a 44% pressure rate. That number's dropped like the last 3 weeks. It's all the way down like 34%. Some of that scheme, teams know they got to get the ball out quickly with them, but I do think with the injuries in the secondary plus the pass rush fading, it's pretty much Myles Garrett right now. They, that's it. That's all they have. They brought in some other guys to go with him, but it hasn't worked lately. So yeah, I like Denver a decent bit here. Ultimately, I do think this will be a low-scoring game.
Might see an explosive player too, though. They play a lot of man. I always like Russ and Judy against man.
Yep, for sure. I don't think, by the way, we'll see a shadow from Ward at all. I know they did it for like one game, and then they went back to their normal approach. So on the other side, though, you will see a shadow. Patrick Surtain probably will follow Amari Cooper. So
our guy Elijah Mitchell's been pretty consistent for him lately. What'd you think of DTR last week?
It's rough with DTR. I think they threw the ball that much because they couldn't run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They knew they're gonna have to throw it to win it.
Was it better or worse than Walker? It felt better.
Better.
Okay.
There's also some design QB run stuff they can do with DTR that's a little bit more explosive than what Walker can give them. So, yeah.
Denver's run D sucks, by the way.
Yeah, it's gotten better though, right? Hasn't it been pretty good the last few weeks?
I mean, they sucked against the Vikings, didn't they? Last week, I mean,
they had some good. Yeah, they did. They gave up some good runs. Chandler got them. Yeah, both backs actually hit some good runs. Yeah,
I mean, Alexander Madison averaged 4.5 yards a carry on 18
a couple nice runs. I was kind of shocked. Yeah,
I mean, I think that might be an aberration.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Their pass defense has gotten a lot better, but
they're nasty.
Yeah, their run defense has definitely stayed bad. They're averaging, oh my god, league worst, over 2 yards per carry, yards before contact.
Yeah,
so that's almost a positive gain. A good EPA gain before you even get touched. So
exactly. So I mean, Jerome Ford, say what you want, man. I mean, if you just start Jerome Ford like just blindly every week, it works out more often than not. So
yep.
I would do that here. And of course, Kareem Hunt. And then don't look now, but the Chief David Njoku is like, he's starting to look like a little bit of a league winner out here. Brett, he seems like he's really kind of taken over a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the volume obviously is there. There's something, that's like an old fable where young quarterbacks love throwing to their tight end, but it's true. Because they're closer to them in proximity than everybody else. So it's an easier throw to make for a lot of these guys. But no, Njoku looks good. He looks athletic. He looks explosive. I know a lot of what he catches are checkdowns right now. He's usually chipping and then releasing. But man, I feel bad about it because I just traded him in a dynasty league in which I'm competing. But I have TJ Hawkinson and the Arizona kid McBride. Someone offered me Gus Edwards for Njoku, and I needed a starting running back. So, but now I'm like, dang it, I probably could have got way more for Njoku. This was like 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was actually pretty high on him. I was the first month of the season, like, oh crap,
he got the slow start.
But no, it looks like that one's going to work. Moving on here, we got to get done. KC at Vegas. I mean, real quick, Brett, I'll go right to you. Like, yet again, this is a cover 4 thing, right? With Mahomes not really matching up well with the scheme that the Raiders run now.
Yeah, it's safety rotations, cover 4. And so anytime you see those 2 high shells, that's what you're getting. You're getting a lot of safety rotations. So also, like, the Kansas City pass catching situation might be a fatal flaw. I think I'm saying it for the first time after watching the game the other night.
Thank you.
It's this could do them in. I know we kind of said that last year, but it just seemed more stable last year. This what they got going on right now is a complete mess, a complete freaking mess. So I don't know how much more Mahomes can put on his back.
The 5 drops, guys, 5 drops. Even Kelsey had a terrible drop. The MVS drop. It's they have what they have. I thought they'd be much better coming out of the bye. They were not. That's a bad sign. And you know what? Kansas City's they've been really competing against the pass. Really competing.
If they're not going to throw to Sky Moore, stop playing Sky Moore. Like, what are they doing?
No, I agree.
He's still out there, I'm telling you, someday Sky Moore's going to go to another team. He's going to catch like 66 balls. It won't be sexy, but you're going to find out this guy's not worthless, but he is here. Of course, almost everybody else is as well for the KC Chiefs. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Pacheco and Kelsey. I mean, that's it. Adam, would you trust Justin Watson? Is he? I mean, that's a guy that Mahomes should trust. Of course, he dropped the potential ball that could have extended the game.
Right. He had 2 drops, one on a crosser and one obviously late in the game, which could have extended everything. The craziness of it, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this. How the hell he led them in targets more than Kelsey he had 11. Now, him and MVS are their 2 shot play guys. Watson, he has his role, but I saw a lot of people picking him up this week. I'd be careful of that. He's a backup fantasy receiver. That's all.
I think he's played the most snaps 4 weeks in a row for the receiving core, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Shows you the lack of trust, Brett, on the receivers. That tells you all you need to know. They don't trust the other guys.
Here's a crazy stat too. Rashee Rice is 4th in the NFL in fantasy points per route run, sandwiched between AJ Brown, Brandon Ayuk, and Keenan Allen.
But they don't increase the snaps.
They're going up. They've slowly been going up. So he now is officially in starter territory. Like I think he's been top 2 or even top 3 of the last 5 weeks, top 2, 3 of the last 5 weeks. So
I mean, this is basically the Juju role, right? He just sits in that soft spot a lot.
Yep, and the little difference they'll do with him is they will design some stuff for him. So they'll give him some jet sweeps, some shallow crossers, some screens.
And the rack is great. The yard after the catch with him is so good.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, even on the outside, you don't see that a lot, but they had one last week. O'Connell to Adams. Hey, go with it while you can. Jacobs, light a candle. Hope for the best. Yeah.
Devontae Adams, since the head coach firing, has been, every share number you want, he's got it. 50% air yard share, 32% target share, 37% first read share. Those are all where those numbers should have been the whole year. Now they're back. Obviously, O'Connell's not the most ideal quarterback to be throwing to Adams, but I do think he gets back into, being a top 12 guy probably for the rest of the year.
Well, the Chiefs may go try and do something similar to what they did to AJ Brown, because they sure as hell did a number on AJ Brown last week.
Yeah, he'll catch a shadow from Snead for sure.
Moving on to Bills Eagles. Speaking of AJ Brown, Adam, what is the big thing in this game, in your opinion? Like
Goddard won't play. So although they did not put him on IR because they think he could return within the first 4 weeks, so that's good. You'll have him, should have him down the stretch for you. So I wouldn't cut him. Swift. The cool thing is they ran some new plays with Swift. They ran that fly sweep with him off of trips formation. That was really cool. So Swift looks good coming out. Oh, this is big for Buffalo. 2 of their top 3 corners have concussions right now, so they're in trouble.
Oh boy. Brett, any thoughts on Hurts? I thought early on maybe it was just good defense, Spagnuolo giving him looks, but he did look pretty slug. And Adam, you too. He did look pretty sluggish back there. I mean,
they're hiding an injury clearly, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
so
Hurts?
obvious. Even the play calling, they ran a screen pass, the same exact screen 3 plays in a row. 2 of them went to Julio Jones, and there's no reason to do that with Jalen Hurts and the weapons they have, other than he needs some reprieve from their normal play calling. So Brian Johnson, though, he's been really bad play calling this year. I already don't love the scheme and the way they design some of those plays, and then when you add poor timing in there as well, it's weird. The Eagles' offense has this weird tendency where they just bog down for quarters at a time, and then all of a sudden they'll explode and hit you with something over the top. But man, it's rough. It's rough. So,
but it's weird too, Adam. They just have very few contributors, really.
Yeah, and look, you knew it would be tough without Goddard because they need to get something in the middle of the field. And Snead manned up on Brown, as you saw. He's pressed him, he shadowed him a decent amount. That's why Devontae Smith did what he did. Yeah, look, without Goddard, it's a problem. Now Swift, though, boy, they lean on Swift in that game. That was good to see.
Oh yeah, we were all over that. We promoted that over the prop. I retweeted it. I mean, that was a slam dunk. Well, I don't know. I mean, the Bills don't play that way, Brett, right?
No, they're going to sit back and play off zone coverage. They give up a ton to running backs in the pass game, actually, because they play that off zone coverage. Those linebackers are getting depth. That's how they, try to shut down the deep middle of the field. And so check down is there all day long. I think Swift could get involved pretty quickly in that regard. This should be a much easier day, though, for A.J. Brown, honestly.
Oh, yeah. What about Gabe Davis?
Does he still?
We don't like Gabe against zone, but then again, the Eagle corners are struggling.
I'll be honest, John. I'm at the point where I don't know how to project Gabe Davis. It's so frustrating.
Terrible.
Anytime you think you got the matchup you want, it doesn't always pan out, and it's just, gosh, I don't know. And then Shakir's looks pretty good too. That's worrying me a little bit. He's explosive, man, and he
is.
He's given them an element that they haven't really had in a couple of years. So,
well, Diggs, I think, based on alignment, should see Bradbury. So this could be a 12 catch Diggs game because Bradbury's struggling at him, right?
Oh yeah, he's been torched this entire season. He's not running well. Teams have put a target on his back. They're going after him. Slay's actually slowed down a little bit. Byard's now a factor. He played better at safety this past game. So Josh will swing it, and they'll give up digits. The Eagles typically play better at home, usually, except for against Dallas, of course.
Their run D wasn't that great last week. I don't even think they're that dominant. The numbers say dominant, but it doesn't feel to me like their run D is dominant.
This is well, Pacheco killed them the first half, then they shut him down the second half. James Cook did a good job the last game, but I'm not. I don't see it this game.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that one. That's fair. Ravens, Chargers. Any thoughts, Brett, on likely? Because I don't know where you were. I'm a big Charlie Kohler stan.
Yep. I loved Kohler coming out for sure. The Chargers are also pretty bad against tight ends, obviously.
They are.
We've been doing that for a couple of years now. But
what's your confidence level that Isaiah Likely can basically replace Mark Andrews?
So here's the thing: when Likely broke out last year and had those good games, Charlie Kohler was hurt.
Yeah,
he's obviously healthy right now. I don't know. I have no idea how Baltimore feels about either of these guys. Adam might know more about that, but
yeah,
I have a
Kohler looked great in the preseason for what it's worth.
Well, he's a vacuum, like a legit vacuum.
Yeah, he is a vacuum.
Yeah, Likely's a matchup guy because his ability to move. I mean, he's explosive. And you saw the one monster game last year. He got open repeatedly. But Kohler's probably a better all-around player. If I could only have one, it'd be Likely. But, John, as we were saying on our show today, don't sleep on Kohler. And
don't assume that Likely's plug and play. That's all.
I hear you. Look, Beckham, by the way, they're downplaying the shoulder injury. He's not a lock to play. We should mention that.
All right,
be careful with OBJ. What's that?
Good for Bateman.
Yep. Well, he also is on the injury report. You can't trust him. You just can't.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're looking for opportunities here.
I know. I hear you.
Not the greatest schematic matchup for Lamar, Brett, right? I mean, that's what the numbers are showing.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. The Chargers have just been so bad lately. And I think it seems like Staley's starting to crack a little bit. So, I don't know.
Okay. He's not cracking. Okay. He's doing a good job. Okay. Whenever a guy's like defensive like that, he's okay. It's like,
he's pissed. He's pissed.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious to see what the Chargers do. So typically when the Chargers have played Baltimore in the past, they dial up the aggression like a ton. They start blitzing a lot. They do a lot of gap exchanging, trying to shut down the Lamar Jackson run game.
Right.
I'm curious to see if they go with that because their secondary has been a lot worse than years past. So if they do get aggressive and blitz, it's going to leave some of these guys on an island, and I think Lamar can take advantage of that.
Remember that game that they went with like all DBs
in the postseason?
Yeah.
That was the first time a team put out a blueprint to stop Lamar, and then he had to deal with that for like a year straight afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And does Austin Eckler look like he's running while wearing ankle weights?
Joe Dolan asked or said it looked like he was carrying a refrigerator.
Yeah, piano, refrigerator.
Yeah, man, I don't know. He still looks quick, like short area quickness, but the long speed is definitely evaporated.
Well, the great LaDainian Tomlinson once told me the first thing to go is the long speed.
Yeah. Derrick Henry would fit that, by the way.
Yep. And then the second thing would probably be contact balance.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Let's see. Anything else here? We're not getting Josh Palmer potentially, are we, Adam? Because
no,
he's not.
Man, we need some help here, man. I don't like the Chargers in this one. I mean, Brett, this is not good.
No. This is not good. Keenan should see a lot of Kyle Hamilton this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hamilton doesn't get a lot of one-on-one reps in coverage, but when he has, he's held up pretty well. I just don't think he's played a receiver like Keenan Allen yet. So,
well, we went 5 minutes over. So quickly, Bears Vikings. I thought Justin Fields looked good last week. I mean, he really did on some throws. Get some pressure this week, Brett. But schematically, it seems like we're going to be okay here with Fields this week.
So Fields, yeah, he looked great creating, and that's what he does. He's really good out of structure. He really did a number on the Lions defense out of the pocket. Everything in structure though, I just still thought looked poor technique, real heel clicky in the pocket. He did have the one really nice throw to DJ Moore for a touchdown. That was a dime.
Seems like he's in just a little bit more command of overall the whole offense.
They're letting him do his thing again. A lot of he had 14 designed QB runs in that game, which
right.
Yes, that is how you want to confuse a defense. That's how you do it. And the Lions, it took him 3 quarters to figure it out. So, but this week, against Minnesota, this is the game plan I think you need to use to stop a guy like Justin Fields. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to blitz. We're going to shut down every single rush lane you could possibly have, not let you escape the pocket. And if you beat us over the top for a long one, okay, whatever, we'll live with it.
Yeah. John, the way that Flores is running his defense, this does not bode well for Fields because he's very unpredictable with his blitz packages. This would worry me. The first matchup, that's where he got hurt, and Bajan came in, and he didn't look good. He did not. Remember, the 2 games before that, he played great, and then he was awful in that game before he got hurt.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you should. I remember being really mad watching that one. Oh, Foreman's he re-injured his ankle. Remember he couldn't come back. So we'll learn more. They don't practice till tomorrow for the first time, but
yeah, I'm thinking Roshan might get a shot to get back all in there.
Sure.
He looked good last week, right? He looked powerful last week, right? Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah, explosive, powerful. Like I said earlier, the Lions missed 18 tackles in that game. 11 of them were against the running backs. So,
right.
18.
Right. Yeah, it was a rough day for the Lions defense.
And then anything on the Bears, D? Because man, I got to tell you, they are good. They are a little stingy.
Well, they're healthy, John. Remember how they're all 4 of their starters in secondary missed time. They're all healthy now.
Yeah. Anything on Josh Dobbs this matchup, Brett?
I'm concerned about Dobbs. I think, towards the end in Arizona, you kind of started to see it get stale, and I think that's what
we're starting to see a little bit of that.
Yeah. And it could amplify a little bit this week too. I do think the Bears defense is hungry. They got those rookie D tackles are both playing very well. The secondary is healthy, like Adam said. This could be a rough outing for him. So
he'll find a way though. He probably will. He is very escapable in that pocket. Sniffing that end zone when he's running with it in the red zone. That's for sure.
That play that broke down and he made that move and he threw it to Josh Oliver is pretty impressive. But you can't count on those plays.
Right.
And his ball security was terrible. He had 3 fumbles.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
True.
And he literally threw the ball to multiple defenders where it wasn't caught. So decision making in general was poor.
He needs to settle down. Yeah, they need to settle him down a little bit.
Well, they could stay steady with the run game here, most likely. I would say.
But it's not, John. You're right. It's not. But the problem that they have is it's not what we call in coaching a sustaining running game.
Right.
If they had a lead back they could rely on, that would settle him down.
Oh yeah.
You can't keep asking him. It's great for fantasy, the volume, but
Yeah.
Brett's right on it. It's eventually going to implode. It's just not sustainable for him. That's why he started. Once the volume went crazy, John, with him in Arizona, he regressed in a big way.
Yeah, but in Minnesota, I still like him long term. Get that bell cut. Get that.
They
good
need
back,
one. Yeah,
you know?
they do. You're right.
I do like the Addison versus Tyreek Stevenson matchup too. That like anytime the Lions needed a big play last week in the pass game, they went right at Stevenson. So
yeah, good one there because they've been pretty good against tight ends. So maybe not a big, huge Hawkinson game. Well, that'll wrap it up. We did go 8 minutes over. Not too shabby though. We thank our guy Thomas on the other side of the glass, Tommy T-Bone for Adam Caplan and Brett Whitefield. I'm John Hansen. He's got the beard back, by the way, last week. I didn't notice when Brett shaved the beard off a month ago, and B, I didn't notice when he got it back. But I did notice.
You notice my goatee, Johnny? Did you notice the goatee?
Not really, but it does look good. There you go.
I told my wife when I dropped 40 pounds I would do it, so we're there.
boom.
There you go. I can't do the facial hair because I'm all white, like
Pasty,
a sheet of paper white.
I've seen the picture. That's fun.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, we'll wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Watch
everybody.
all the other videos. Great stuff from Adam and Brett. I'm John. We'll catch you next time.